Hi, welcome to All Things Possible TV. I'm Kris Barney, and this is Bill Barney, my husband.
Yes, I am. That's me.
And we're excited to have you with us here on All Things Possible TV. This week's episode is What's Stopping You? We have had some big resistance and some things happening recently in our lives, and we want to share with you. Of course, raw and real, we love to be able to share with you things we are learning and experiencing, and hopefully helping you to not have to go through it yourself and learn on your own.
I think that you're the only one that it's ever happened to. I got news for you.
It happens to all of us, right?
So yeah, it's the old thing of, when the going gets tough, what do the tough do? Well, there's a few different options, and depending on what's going on in your life. So that's kind of what we want to share with you, at least what we found that works for us. And we believe it'll work for you too. So
yeah, we don't want you to be stopped. And before we get right into the meat of this, we want to invite you to go to our website. We have the 7 Traits video series that is our free gift to you. We want you to join our community. The 7 Traits can really move your life forward faster and give you the opportunity to change some things up and see things from a different perspective. So jump on the website, it's a clickable link, and you can go and join us.
right here.
And yeah, there we go. Mr. What's his name?
Caption Guy.
Caption Guy. If you have not watched our shows before, Bill has a friend named Caption Guy that has helped
He
us
does my
on our
captions
videos.
for me. Sometimes he doesn't do what I want, but he does do them. So it's Caption Guy.
Yeah, you'd think he had a mind similar to yours, but
Well, great minds think alike.
or not.
And so do others.
Join us. We have a great time, and we'd love to have you in our community. So, just some of the questions. What is stopping you? What are you feeling when you get up against that resistance or that fear? All these different things. There's a lot to it, and we've gotten to face some of that. Bill, why don't you talk about some of those things that...
Well, first off, let's talk about some of the scenarios of stopping you. It might be for us recently, and we're going to get into that more. I've had this new Healer's Journey mentoring program come out. Wow, talk about resistance to that. You've been working on?
Writing a book.
Okay. Not everybody writes a book or does a mentoring program or something like that. But we have different things. Could it be stopping you from getting the next job, from training in something? Could it be stopping you from healing your relationship?
Or possibly releasing some weight.
Yes.
Getting to a new goal and accomplishing the things that you want. Maybe it's an advancement at work or a position that you've been wanting for a long time.
Or mowing the lawn.
Obviously,
It happens.
right?
It happens.
Not at our house. Like, once every 3 weeks is enough, right?
That's right, whether it needs it or not.
All our lawnmowers moved out, so.
Our lawnmower's moved out and they have to be behind with a little push contraption. I thought it happened automatically.
No. Father's Day, we got propelled wheels on our lawnmower.
Yes, and now we've been working on what it takes to propel the operator of the lawnmower. So that's what this is about today. So.
No, seriously, today is about seeing those things that we're finding something is stopping us. There's something that's making that difficult.
So the first thing I want to go into and talk about is resistance. We're going to form some kind of resistance. There's a resistance, otherwise this title wouldn't even appeal to you of what's stopping you. Something's stopping you, there's some kind of resistance. And what we want to know, is it coming from inside or from outside influences? And the first thing I want to address is for those times that it's coming from outside influences. Because if they're coming from inside or outside, you want different solutions. It's not one-size-fits-all solutions.
There's not one-size-fits-all on this?
No, there's not. And I don't know if the lawn is very important, but if you are wanting to heal a relationship or get an advancement at work or whatever other project, something that's going to improve and make this world a better place, make you a better person, there is going to be resistance. Now, if you don't believe that there are forces of good in this world and that there are forces of evil, thanks. I'm glad you tuned in. There's probably nothing more for you here today. Still love you, but I don't have anything to give you based on what we have today. But and I say it facetiously. Please stay. But there's forces of good. And if there's forces of good that want to help you, there's also dark forces that want to stop that. And you can call it angels and devils or whatever you want to call it, or just call it the force of light and the force of darkness in the universe.
Well, positive forces and negative forces.
Yes, that. Okay, but there are forces, and they are active living forces. When you are, somehow they can tell when you're doing something good that is going to make you better. And make your family better, or your situation, or you're going to bless the lives of other people. Believe me, those forces, those negative forces are going to work against you. And that's when my solution for that is you do what you can. If you have a higher power, if you have a source, where do you seek for that inner strength? You go there. You go there and you get that inner strength, but don't wait for it. You just go there and say, hey, I'm running. Come with me, please help me. And you put your head down and you push and you push and you just push through it. This is one of those things where you act like the old bull in the china closet. Just stick your head down and go for it. Because these forces, that's what they want you to do, is sit down and stop. And you can't reason with them. You can't wait them out. That's what they want you to do, right? Because you're stopped when you're waiting. And you just need to push through it. And we just had that recently, exactly.
We did. Well, and every time that there's something good that happens in your life, every time that there's a good thing that happens, there's a price to be paid. And every time there's a bad thing, there's a price to be paid too. But when we have those good things that we're trying to accomplish and we're trying to move forward, there seems to be extra resistance and extra things to have to push through. And that's, I've always felt like it's a price that has to be paid to have the good come. So recently, Bill told you that he just had his new program kick out. So it's the Healer's Journey course in energy medicine, and it's about helping healers move to that next level. And it's a group program.
Group training, program. I'm helping people that either want to move to the next level or just get started. But imagine, I mean, let's take a minute. Look at that, what we talked about this concept. Imagine what's happened. We're not just talking about me working with one person to help that person's life be better. It's the old concept of giving a person a fish, or feeding them fish, or teaching them to fish. And then they go out and teach others. This is big. This is going to make an impact on this planet. There are forces who really want this to happen, and there's others who don't.
Right, and there's room for 10 people in this program, so one healer to one person versus now 11, but you and the 10 others, and they make a difference, and they go out there. So there's massive good to come from this. And so we have the internet, we're getting all ready to go, and the kickoff is a webinar. And about a week before the webinar starts, we start having really slow internet. Now let me preface this. We're with the same internet company that we've been with for 3 or 4 years.
Absolutely.
We've never had a problem. We're supposed to have 10, is it gigabytes, 10 Gs?
10 wahoojits.
Yeah, 10 whatever it is.
Yeah.
So we would have quick internet. We'd be able to upload and download and be able to run this webinar without having any problems with dropping people off of the webinar or us not feeding through fast enough.
It's no fun to do a webinar once it quits in the middle, and people can get very discouraged. So it was very, very important and critical to us to make sure that process went smoothly. Well, for a solid week, we had all kinds of internet issues, and it wasn't just that. I was doing another certification on a PTSD project that I had to do 20 hours of online training, and that got to be a bit of a challenge to keep my attitude up.
Well, not just attitude, but the actual internet. We had to hook your laptop into the Ethernet in by right below where
for
the
it
dish
to work
is,
sometimes.
just for it to work a little bit.
And we had the internet company out a few different times, and they was like, oh, we can't get anything till later in the week.
Well, and we reported it. It was supposed to be fixed within 48 hours, which was well in time to be able to do both this program, the certification, and everything. And yet we kept having issues. They hadn't even looked at it 48 hours later. And it just was, without being in our own possible way to change something, everything was happening. And emails weren't being sent. We actually got on the phone with them, we did all the things they said, and 3 hours later we lost complete internet for 24 hours.
And so I want to be something clear, and I want to make it a short story too, so this is a short video. it's not the internet company. In the end, I was getting somewhat frustrated with the company itself. But I came to realize with all the things that was going on that this was those outside forces that I've been talking to you about. And the day of, they hadn't got it fixed yet, and they had been trying. So I called some good friends, says, hey, can I come and camp out at your house tonight, use your internet so I can broadcast this webinar? And within a couple of hours, our internet was working wonderful.
Yeah,
Just
he
like
went down to the webinar from their house, and I'm here watching the webinar with great signal.
Yeah, we could have done the webinar with the signal that was there, but I really am
But
almost
10 minutes
short.
before the webinar, before you left, we couldn't.
Yeah.
We couldn't even open Facebook.
So-
So we never know what that is. But he pushed through, kept this great attitude, and kept going. Now let me tell you another story. I've been writing a book, and I've been doing this for a while, and it hasn't been on the forefront. This year it was on the forefront. We started out with a book writing weekend in, February?
Did a little writing retreat, yes.
Did a writing retreat. We had some great things going. And then I got listening to outside sources.
Well, she went and listened to some very influential people who had written books, and it was a group of people getting together to give each other ideas.
Well, and it was more than one group, but this particular group, even the information that I got was accurate and spot on. I needed to shift some things and do some things differently around my book, and even shift the title. And so with all of this, rather than push through and keep going, I totally shut down. I stopped writing. I quit doing things. I just got too busy. All of a sudden I didn't have time to write. Wasn't that I didn't want to write, it's just that it just never was happening. And yet when I stopped and looked at it, it was I wasn't trusting myself. I'd let all these outside sources and all these things come into play to where I stopped. And I allowed the resistance, the fear, whatever you want to call it, stop me from continuing on where I wanted to be.
Well, and you went into self-doubt there a little bit. You started wondering,
Right.
should I listen to these experts? And how much do I take? And what's their good opinion and what's me trusting my heart? And it just, that doubt stopped you dead in your tracks.
Well, and even it was like, oh, we'll come up with this different title. I'd come up with one that I felt good with, and then I'd have, 10 people go, oh, I don't know if that's what I would do. And I just found other things to take the priority. And I had lots of mentoring to do, lots of speaking, lots of different things going on, so it was easy to let it take a back burner. Not that I felt like I was quitting or that I wasn't doing it, but it was totally taking a back burner. And I got to look at it and go, okay, what is it? Am I into self-doubt? Am I into fear? Am I giving up? Or can I find the excitement? Can I find what will help me to push through this resistance and this challenge and continue? So we kind of want to talk about a couple of things that when you get to that point where you feel like that resistance is winning, what can you do?
So, and this isn't really the subject of our thing today, but you've heard the saying that character and integrity is in sticking through with finishing a project long after the excitement in which you made the commitment is gone. So it's easy to say, man, I'm going to do this, and then you get into all the work and it's easy. That's where you really see what your true mettle is. Are you going to stick through? And that's where we could be at this point when we feel like, what's stopping me? And so I've had a couple experiences, and part of it is the key, I believe, is to seeing the long view, to seeing the end goal, and find a special way. So I'm going to ask you, you're watching a movie that we created, I'm going to ask you to put the little people inside your head to work and how to make a movie for you. And what kind of an accent was that? I don't know.
I've quit actually naming your accents and the people in your head.
There's so many. But 6-7 years ago now, I decided I was going to run a marathon. And that was quite a big goal for me at that time, having not done any jogging or anything. I wasn't a regular jogger or exerciser.
Well, you were 49 and said I'm running a marathon before I'm 50.
Yeah. And so, and I got very excited, and it was fun, and I went out and bought new shoes. And I had done that like 10 years before. I'd never actually ran anywhere in those shoes. But these, I bought new shoes. I mean, there's a lot of excitement going on there, right? And so I start on the treadmill, and I start going, and it took me, you know, I set out a plan for a year to run this marathon. I had an intention to run one marathon in Las Vegas, the Rock and Roll Marathon. And believe me, the excitement when you're training for a marathon isn't always there every day you go out to run. Whether it's so bad of a blizzard outside that you go down in the basement and you run on the treadmill, or whether it's the heat, or whether you're out running in the rain, or you know, when it's really, really cold. It's not always exciting, and day after day after day of running, it can get very old and monotonous. What do you do when you just feel like you don't even want to finish that run? You're in the middle of the run, you're saying, you know what, I'm just going to turn around and walk back home. I'm good today. What do you do? And that's where I put the little people in my head to work, and I started making a movie. And this is an instant recall technique that I would like to share with you. So make a movie of the end goal. And so for me, with my marathon, I made a movie in my head. And I visualized me crossing that finish line and my family cheering. You know, I had all my kids there, my wife, and I could imagine that feeling of what it would feel like to cross after 26.2. Those .2 are very significant miles. 26.2, they're the hardest ones. 26.2 miles. And I had this whole vision. I mean, my kids were there, and I just knew that inside they were going, my dad is the most awesome guy in the world. I'm so proud of him. And my wife is going, oh, he's so hot. Look at him.
Las Vegas, hot.
Okay. It was my mind. It was my mind, my story,
Your
my movie. I got to make it up with my ending. But I did.
You're hot, honey.
I am hot. I'm sweating actually right now just thinking about it. But I created this movie in my mind, and I edited it, and I added things in, and I put dramatic music. Boom, 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 boom. Is that dramatic enough? Anyway. But I had this whole thing in my head, and those days when I got to where I just didn't feel like I could keep going, I would reach down deep and I would pull that movie up and I would play it, and I'd crank the reel, you know, I'd have the little guys in my head going, doing their little jobs, and I would play that movie, and that's what would get me through. So take a long view. What is it? That's one thing when you're on a project like that. Think about somebody jumping out of an airplane with a parachute on their back. Why would you do that? There's nothing wrong with that. I can understand.
Because you're strapped to the guy that is.
I can understand if the plane is broke and is losing attitude. I don't think I would be so scared to jump out of a broken plane. But a good one that's in the air, a long ways up there, me no comprehendo. But what is it that takes, what does it take that person that very first time they go, what is it that they want so bad that they're willing to take that step, to step off and trust that parachute? And you know, that's what we have to do in life, whether it's a project that we want to start, a commitment that we make. What is it that's going to make us take that step? You know, beyond which, you know, you say, I do, whatever it is, when there's no turning back. And it's got to be the dream, the goal of, I want something worse than what I'm afraid of. I want that feeling. I want that knowledge that I can do this. And I want that more than I'm afraid of jumping out of a plane. And you find that. Find the end. Take the long view. Sometimes it isn't, you know, it's good when you're really struggling. All I got to do is take one more step and then one more step. But sometimes it's easier to take the long view and look way out there in the distance and say, that's where I'm going. And you quit counting the steps and you go towards that.
Well, it's like with the book. So in writing my book, what I've really had to come back to is, rather than be shut down and stopped and not letting it take a priority, not making time for it, is to trust myself and to see that the whole reason I was writing the book in the first place is to change lives, to assist others, to take their life to a new level, to accomplish the things they want to accomplish, and to use that knowledge that I have gained way over 30 years, but over this lifetime. Besides the education and all the other pieces that I have to put into this, that I have to trust that, and I have to see the good that it's going to do by having it done.
Yep.
Yep. There also has to be excitement. There has to be... Woo! a reason
Yes.
and a time frame. So it's, hey, I've missed a deadline, it's time for a new one. It's time to set a new time frame, a new goal of a date that when it's completed, when it's off to the, the first manuscript's done, right? So you have to have that excitement. You need to build that. You need to have imagine the ending and what it's going to be and push through.
Absolutely. And imagine how that's going to affect people's lives. What this information in your book is going to do for people that read it. And that, when you start realizing that, it becomes more than just about how many words are in your title or the words of the title. The title is important, but when you look at, is this going to change this person's life? Are they going to be a better person by the concepts that I deliver in this book? Then that's the reason you're writing the book.
Right. And you do get to trust yourself and find what it is that you need to have the incentive to complete. Whether that's the excitement, the long view, the trusting yourself, you need to put those pieces in place. And one of the things that we've taught before is being comfortable in being uncomfortable. We make the biggest changes when we're willing to step outside that comfort zone and push through, even if it's uncomfortable. There can be fear, there can be resistance, and it is good to push outside of that box.
Yes, absolutely. And it's a combination. It just, for every person, the components are going to be larger or smaller. Like you divide that up into a pie. You may need more of just trusting yourself. You may need more to make a movie, that visualization of the end product. Whatever that is. And you may just need to push through and do the battle until you have paid the price.
Just strap yourself to that parachute, man, and jump.
Jump.
Hey, thanks for being with us today. I hope that you've gotten pieces of information, ways that can help you. It's been things that have been able to help us. And when those times have come to push through, we told hero stories on Bill twice and kind of a failure story on me. But what I want you to know is that no matter how you do this, it's completing the task and continuing on having that success.
Yes, I have not jumped out of an airplane.
Me neither.
And you haven't failed.
But sometimes it feels like I jumped out of a plane when I married you. No, we have a great time. We have a great time in business as well as being married. I know that if you've stayed this long on the video, we have a great time. We have a lot of fun together, and we love to see lives change. We love to make that difference and to have that impact and to assist those to be their best self. We are on the journey to be our best self, and we love having you with us here at All Things Possible in our community.
We sure do.
And I guess that's going to be a wrap because Bill doesn't have anything else to say.
I done did said all I had for today.
Thanks for being here.
Empty.
We'll see you next time on All Things Possible TV. Bye-bye.